I'm going to be reading this Nirvana poetry written by kind of like a fan poetry zine written by Emma Frankland, who is a playwright and actually wrote a play called All Apologies, kind of related to, actually fully related to the kind of like theory and experience of Kurt Cobain being trans and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not really sure how to play it, but there was a play was never recorded, so she put it in this poetry zine for people to read, and I bought it off of eBay, and I mean off of Etsy, and like the shop is no longer around, so I'm glad I bought one before it went out. Yeah, so basically it's inspired by Kurt's lyrics and trans internet discourse of Kurt possibly being trans, because people have connected a lot of like themes and some stuff in Kurt's old diaries, like saying that he wanted to grow breasts or she wanted to grow breasts. I'm not sure. I mean, nothing is confirmed exactly, but yeah, I mean, I believe that Kurt could have been trans, absolutely, and I feel like All Apologies is kind of about that. A lot people have also tied a lot of In Utero's lyrics to being trans and stuff like that. So anyways, let's get to it. Kurt Cobain was trans. Kurt Cobain was a trans woman. Kurt Cobain said, "I have this conflict between good and evil and man and woman." Kurt Cobain was pretty. She was clever. She was sarcastic. She was addicted. She was complex. She was cool. And she wore girl clothes. Like, who wears girl clothes if you aren't trans, right? I mean, but there was a way that Kurt Cobain wore dresses. Like, she didn't wear dresses or makeup or nail polish. She wore them. Kurt Cobain said cross-dressing is cool. Kurt Cobain was trans. When I look at pictures of Kurt Cobain, I can see in her eyes. There's a thing about trans people before we discover how to feel real you can see in photographs. In our eyes, there's a sadness. Kurt Cobain sang, "Everything's my fault. Shame." I don't actually care if it's true. Not because I don't care about her, but because if we think of celebrities as an abstract notion rather than a human being, then the truth doesn't matter. But the space that the possibility creates is everything. I don't care if Kurt Cobain was trans, but my life might have been easier if she was. I keep coming back to my school's Christmas shopping trip to Plymouth in 1994 when my best friend Ben gave me a cassette of Nirvana unplugged, and I knew it was an important moment in my life. My cool mate had made a tape for me that was exciting in itself, and in his own handwriting had written all the lyrics and even tucked in some secret Red Hot Chili Peppers for good measure. I listened to this tape on the coach ride from Fairmouth to Plymouth, and as I walked around Toys R Us on my Walkman, and I felt cool. But imagine if Kurt was trans. This may have been my first encounter with somebody else that was trans, and I think that's why it was significant, why it always comes to me. Think of a celebrity that was important to you when you were 14. Picture them, enjoy them, hear their name in your mind, feel their name in your mouth. Now let's say those names out loud together. Oh my god, so many trans celebrities, who knew? What if I had known any of those names when I was 14? It is easy to forget how hard that journey is to understanding was, to gloss over the uncomfortable parts, the shame. I want to talk about wishful thinking, about how we are forced to dream ourselves into being, because we lack history and guidance, and how we are forced into seeking validation from the cisgender world rather than seeing each other's beauty. I want to think about wishful talking. I don't care if the abstract Kurt Cobain was trans, but I care a lot about the person. That real person. I am having a conversation with my younger self. I'm apologizing for not having the words, for wasting time, for not learning the guitar, for allowing myself to feel ashamed, for not trusting myself sooner. So my fantasy is that Kurt comes out, and it still could happen. Dave Grohl breaks his silence, and it all comes out. It's the end of a Foo Fighters concert, and the crowd have been going wild, And Dave steps out from behind the drums and says, there's been a lot of shit going down recently against the trans community, and I don't think that's cool. And the crowd are kind of with him, but not really. And then he says, and I support the trans community because one of my best friends. And then he starts to cry, big fat tears rolling down his beard and mustache and onto his massive tattoos, because my friend Kurt was trans and I was proud to know her. Or maybe that's a wrong fantasy because who needs a cis savior, right? So perhaps it has come from Kurt. A forgotten video from the MTV Unplugged show where right after Where Did You Sleep Last Night? Instead of going into an anecdote about David Geffen, Kurt looks straight at the camera and says, I have something to say. And right there she says it. And all hell breaks loose. And people are shouting and running about. And the camera is knocked to a weird angle so all you can see are Kurt's feet. Her dirty sneakers, and we hear the 4 manager yelling, I don't know. I don't know. As the crowd starts chanting and the studio begins to burn, or maybe we don't need to know. We just know, And that is enough. And there is another trans person, real, in the world. And how thrilling would that have been? It is always thrilling knowing another trans person exists. When Kurt died, I was on another school trip. Weirdly, we were camping overnight in a different school, sleeping in the classrooms. My friend Ben was really messed up by it. He made a shrine to Kurt, lit candles, and we listened to Nirvana until the teachers came and said we could have naked flames. She clears the space, lights a cigarette, and marks a sun circle with the smoke. She lights 2 black candles. She takes off her shirt. She takes a handful of ash and charcoal, and she swallows it. In the sun, 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 and all that. We don't need celebrities to come out, but we do need each other to survive, to say we exist. We exist and I am not crazy. We exist and I did not make this up. But let's claim Kurt, and let's claim the sun, and let's claim the moon and stars and the planets too. But they are already pretty clear. Today, let's claim the sun as a trans symbol. And every time the sun rises, you can look at it and say, there are other trans souls on this planet, other queer souls on this planet, other beautiful people on this planet who are also being touched by the sun, and I am not alone. They have my back. We have power and beauty. We are deserving of love. We give life. If you touch us, we will burn you. If you look too long, we will blind you. If you fly too close, we will drown you. But we offer you life and warmth, and we shine. What else could I be? All apologies. What else should I say? Everyone is gay. What else should I write? I don't have the right. What else should I be? All apologies. In the sun. In the sun I feel as one. In the sun. In the sun. Married. Buried. Married. I wish I was like you, easily amused. From my nest of salt, everything's my fault. I'll take all the blame, aqua sea foam shame. Sunburn with freezer burn, choking on the ashes of her enemies. In the sun I feel as one. In the sun, married, buried, married, buried. All in all is all we are. All in all is all we are. All in all is all we are. All alone is all we are. Yeah, that's about it. That's like the entire thing. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I really fucking love this. This is awesome. This is a great piece of trans media. Even if it's just fanon, I like it. I fucking love it a lot. I personally do headcanon Kurt as trans. Honestly, I feel like he, or in this case, she was. I feel like maybe she could have been trans. Like, it feels pretty plausible, and, like, there was never any solid, like, absolute solid, explicit evidence, but she did write about wanting to grow breasts in her diary, and having lyrics like, I'm not, having the original lyrics of All Apologies include the phrase, I'm not a man, so I think there's an argument to be made, in my opinion. Alright, that's it. We miss you, Kurt. Still, after 30 years. Sadly, you have been dead longer than you were alive. And we will forever miss you. We forever keep you in our hearts. We love you, Kurt. Thank you for being here. Even in the short time you were, you really revolutionized music history. It's beyond words what you did for music, like how you really changed the game for the better. And there's never going to be another Nirvana, and there's never going to be another Kurt Cobain. We love you.